Hello friends, welcome back. Today I'm making a special treat for my husband. He's been asking for a berry pie. It's one of his favorite summertime treats and we go on lots of picnics, so it's perfect. So I'm going to start with 12 cups of berries, and I used blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries mixed together, and I bought those pre-frozen. And I'm going to mix in with those 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 cup of flour, and 1 1/4 cups of sugar. And you can up that flour to a full cup if you want a really thick filling. So I mix that and set it aside. And for my crust, I start with 1 cup of shortening, and then I'm going to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 2 cups of flour. And I'm going to cut that shortening into it till it resembles coarse crumbs. Then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of water, 1 1/2 teaspoons of white vinegar, and 1 egg. And I'm going to mix that really well until it combines. It's going to form a ball. It's just really going to stick together, and that's perfect. That's what you want. So once you get it to this consistency where it's really sticking together, I'm going to show you the easiest way to roll out your pie crust. Now, I don't do this every time, but I've been asked to show how I do this. So for those people who find it difficult, I use a flour sack from the Dollar Tree, and I lay it out on the counter and put flour on it. And then I cut my dough in half because I'm going to have a top to my crust. So if you're just going to use a bottom crust, I would still suggest cutting it in half because it's the perfect amount for a really good sized pie. So I cover both sides really well with the flour and kind of press it down, and then I start in the center and I press out from the center out in all directions. I don't roll back and forth. I just pick it up and set it down in the center and press out on each side. If your flour sack is moving, just straighten it out. You can hold it with your body up against the counter, let it hang over the edge a bit, and it just makes it so easy. So to put it on your pie plate, I'm just going to fold it in half and move it over there. You can also roll it onto the rolling pin and then unroll it into the pie shell, and that works great. So I'm just going to fill my pie plate with a good amount of berries, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the top crust. Okay, so for the top crust, I just kind of fluff up my flour that's on my flour sack and add a little bit more. And even if I'm working on a counter alone, I'll add a little bit more. And I add some to my dough and flatten it out. And the same thing, I press in the center and roll out, lifting up each time. I do not roll back and forth. And just get it to the size that I want and the thickness that I want, and then I can go ahead and transfer it to the top of my pie. So you're going to want to create an air vent for the steam to escape, and it's going to help your pie cook faster. I'm just going to use a cookie cutter in the center. You can just use a knife and make little slits in the dough if you want, and that's perfectly fine. So you're going to want to cut off that excess dough around the edge of your pie to about 1 inch past the pie plate. And then you're just going to go around the entire pie and fold it under on top of itself and kind of create a dam to prevent any of those pie juices from running out. And once you got that done, then you can decorate however you want and then do some type of decorative edge on your pie crust. And I'm just going to do this pinch and press. I'm not really sure what you call it, the technical name, but you could do a braid or anything decorative. You could just use a fork and press the edges if you wanted. So once I get this done, I'm going to put it on a designated pie cookie sheet, and this is a cookie sheet that I have saved just to put pies on and bake. That way it helps my oven not be as messy. So I'm going to bake it for 350 just until the crust is golden. Because it's a berry pie, it's going to cook a lot faster. If this was an apple pie, I would cover it with foil. So I had berries left over and I can't let them go to waste. So I'm going to make a cobbler too. And I'm going to add just a little bit of lemon extract to this. You could add lemon zest if you prefer, or lemon juice. I'm going to mix that together and set it aside. And to a separate bowl, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of flour, 1 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla and 1/2 cup of melted butter. Mix that up just a bit, and then I'm going to add a full cup of milk. And I'm going to mix this together just till it's combined. It's going to be just like a pancake batter and like a little bit lumpy. Perfect. That's exactly what you want. So I'm just going to butter a dish and pour my batter in there and put the berries on top. You could do that the other way around. If you prefer the berries on the bottom, then do it like that. So I'm going to bake that at 350 for about 45 minutes. So the pie crust, I've had this recipe since I was in my early 20s, and it's foolproof. Trust me, it comes out perfect every time. Perfect buttery flaky crust. The cobbler, if you love cake or muffins, oh my goodness, this is the recipe for you. I love this recipe. It's so good. So anyway, hope you guys like these recipes. I hope you're having a great day. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.